This is a story that I originally did 10 years ago. But it's one of my favorite stories. So, with the indulgence of the people that heard it 10 years ago, and I think there's a handful in the audience, I'm going to do it again because it's a good story. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, it happened, as I said, in the year 2000. I was in London, England, and I was visiting my sister who had just had her second baby, a baby boy. And I was there to babysit her first child, my 3-year-old niece, Ellis. Now, we spent the morning doing colouring, watching movies, reading a few stories, the things that 3-year-olds do. And I decided, even though it was a November chilly day, we need to get out. We need some fresh air. So off we went. My sister had mentioned to me that there was a park close by in this part of London. So I went looking for the park. And I found it. And it was great. We went on the swings, we played on the roundabout, we went on the slide. We had a lot of fun. And it took a while, because my niece particularly liked the swings, it took a while to get her off of the swings. So then we made our way through the park, and we came across a little cafe there. So we thought we'd stop and have a drink. The chips looked pretty good, so we decided, okay, we're going to sit down and we're going to share a plate of chips. So we did that. We came back out. We started to make our way, and I was a little confused because this was my first time in this park, and I wasn't really quite sure which entrance I came in. So I stood and looked around a little bit, and then I decided, okay, that's my entrance over there. Now, there'd been a lot of flooding in England that year, so the grass was really soggy, and there was little pools of water all over the place, so we couldn't go across the grass. So we had to take the pathway all around. So we did. And I'm walking along the pathway, and all of a sudden, I notice a middle-aged man. He had a long, grey overcoat. But the thing that caught my attention is that he had purple cotton pants underneath. That really caught my attention. And then I looked. And I looked a little bit more, and I thought, I know this person. And I looked again, and suddenly I realized, there he was, Paul McCartney, right there in front of me. I walked past. He was slightly bent over, doing up the shoelaces of a little boy, who I now believe to be his grandson. His companion at the time was a blonde, with a hat pulled down over her head, who I now believe to be Heather Mills. I walked past. My head was doing a 180. My heart was doing a little race. And as I walked past, I thought, no, stop. I have to do something. You see, I'm a huge Beatle fan. I have been since the 60s. I love the Beatle music. I always will love the Beatle music. I've seen Paul McCartney every time he's been here in Toronto, and I've seen him once in concert in England. I gotta do something. So I sidled back up to Heather, and I said, Heather, that's Paul McCartney, isn't it? And she said yes. And I said, so is he okay? Like, if I speak to him as a fan, would it be okay? And she said, yes. That was my green light. Grabbed hold of my niece's hand, walked up to Paul McCartney, stood there, looked him straight in the eye, and I said, sorry to disturb you in the park. What silly things we say when we're nervous. Sorry to disturb you in the park, but I'm such a huge fan, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the music. And he looked at me and he said, well, thank you. And he shook my hand. And my legs started to shake. Now that is absolutely ridiculous. I know I'm a grown woman, but there he was, right there. This hand shook it, my legs started to shake. He was so pleasant. He said, "Who's this?" And I said, "Well, this is my niece Ellis." I propped her up on the bench right next to his grandson and said, I'm here from Canada, I'm babysitting, my sister's just had a baby." He said, "Oh, that's nice," and he said hello to Ellis. And then he wished me good luck, off he went, linked arms with Heather, and off they went out of the entranceway. Well, I stood there, I was so excited. I had to look around, who can I tell, who can I tell? And I hadn't noticed up until that point, but there was a woman sitting right at the end of the bench. And I looked around at her and I said, "That was Paul McCartney." And she said, "I know." She said, "I've been sitting here, absolutely frozen to the spot. He came up, you came up. I wasn't able to speak. I'd just been sitting here, completely still." I said, "I know, isn't it exciting?" So it was great. We had a little conversation. It allowed me enough time for Paul to leave because I didn't want him to think I was stalking him. Gave him enough time for him to leave, and then off we went, followed to the entranceway. And then I got to the entranceway, and I looked around and I thought, this isn't right. I'm in the wrong place. This isn't the way I came in at all. But was I unhappy about that? No way, because if I hadn't done, I wouldn't have met Paul McCartney.